Well, hello, traders and investors. My name is Roger Scott. I'm the head trader for Wealth Press. Today is Friday. Actually, wow, it's Friday the 13th. I got to watch out for for accidents and keep my fingers and toes crossed. All right, let's talk about the market. And what do I always say? Let's get into it right now. So if we look at global shares, and I want to give you guys a good little idea of what's going on before the weekend. Global shares are turning lower. U.S. stocks are actually doing pretty good. They're up about 200 points before the opening. We got an opening in about an hour. Global shares, they're mostly lower on Friday. COVID infections are going through the world once again. It's like being in the world back in end of March or middle of March or maybe even beginning of March. It's been so long I don't even remember. But again, we're in phase two, hamstrung by pandemic restrictions on travel and business. Economies are hamstrung, folks. Reports of surging COVID-19 cases have had a sobering effect on markets that have advanced on hopes of a vaccine and expectations that pro-business policies or aid from Fed or central banks are going to be on the table, which is not the case. So, and also, we can't decide on who's going to be the president right now. Trump is focused on defending his presidency, to say it in a delicate way. He's not really focused too much on the COVID-19, and that's going to come up before the aid with the federal and central banks. So right now, I'm going to tell you folks, we're in an influx of economic, social, global, and just tons of issues that need to be resolved. I think they're going to be resolved fairly quickly because the president needs to be certified within a certain amount of time. But nonetheless, things are just kind of all over the place, and it's going to take a few weeks maybe for things to come back. And I think the market is kind of hovering and waiting for the next cycle. And I'll show you why on a technical basis, why this story confirms in a minute. In Japan, pandemic has seemed relatively under control, fewer than 2,000 cumulative deaths, and the number of reported daily cases nationwide reached a record for the country at more than 1,600 people. Wow. Outbreaks in parts of the world have dosed optimism over progress results for potential vaccine. Folks, even if it comes out tomorrow, most people are not going to get it for 6 months. That's a long time. Pessimism over scant chances that Democrats and Republicans will manage to reach an agreement on further economic stimulus. They can't even agree on who's going to be the president. Folks, there's a lot of issues going on right now. Caseloads, COVID caseloads are rising at a faster rate in the U.S. in almost every state. I hate to say it, but Fauci said it would, and it's happening. In New York, for example, the state is ordering restaurants, bars, and gyms to close at 10 p.m. beginning on Friday, which is called a lockdown. New York was devastated by the virus earlier this year, and it looks like things are coming back. In Europe, several governments have brought back even tougher restrictions, and if Biden wins, there's a good chance, a real solid chance, that these restrictions will become national. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I don't have an opinion on it. I'm just going with the flow, and if that happens, folks, it's stay-at-home season again. And when stay-at-home season, that means we already know what stocks are going to go up. The same stocks that went up last March, April, and May. And remember, I'm not here to talk politics. I'm here to figure out how to use politics to help you make money. So don't get caught up in opinions. The best thing you can do as far as the stock market is concerned is to be impartial, to be neutral, to be non-biased. Because anytime you get biased, you're not following the money, you're following your beliefs. So again, you should all have every belief that you want when it comes to politics. But again, leave those beliefs on the sideline when it comes to making money. Because I personally like to make money more than I like my political beliefs. That's just me. I'm not a huge politician. I'm not a huge political guy. I'm being honest with you. I've never been. It just seems too out of my control. But the market, what I buy, what I sell is not. So keep that perspective in mind. But now that's the fundamental. Fundamentally, here's how I look at it. 8 months ago, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, we were experiencing this COVID, and we took advantage of the stay-at-home stocks, and we were optimistic that things were going to change. Now, things are about to change, but here's the difference. We're now starting to ask the right questions. And that's the key. We got to ask the right questions. When am I going to get my vaccine? Do I want my vaccine? What are the side effects? How is it going to protect me? Is there more harm than good? I'm not a doctor. I'm just throwing all this out there. So the more we start asking these questions, the more all of this will be assimilated in the stock market. Because what we're doing is we're kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, or including the baby with the bath. We don't want to do that. We want to ask the right questions, know which way to go. And right now we're kind of doing zeros and ones, and that's not good either. So again, I'm just throwing that out at you. But let me show you something that I'm not liking. And this is moving along with my theory on the fundamentals that are fizzling out. Look at momentum levels. Momentum levels, this is the number of stocks in the S&P 500 trading above the 200-day moving average. We're taking all market capitalization or all bias away from market cap. And you will see that we've got 80% of stocks, or about 400 stocks out of the 500 that are now trading above the 200-day moving average. That's telling us, as you could see here, this is a weekly chart. Now, what happens anytime we get up to the 80th level, where we're at right now, by the way? This is 5 years of data. We cool off. We can't really go much higher. Let's look at 20 years of data. Notice momentum levels are actually getting weaker over time. And again, we're not at, let's put it this way. If we were in a race right now, we would be about 50 yards from the finish line in terms of our exhaustion level. You understand? The market is getting very exhausted, the longer term. That's the S&P. Let's look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is way beyond that. The NASDAQ's now coming off. The NASDAQ's now cooling off of these levels. It went to and this is, again, 5 years data. NASDAQ 100, number of stocks trading above the 200-day moving average. Look at what's going on here. 90% of stocks, that's 90 stocks out of 100, were trading above the 200-day moving average. Now, if we go to momentum, and if we go to the 50-day on the NASDAQ, these are large caps. You will see, oops, excuse me, went to the wrong one. If you go to the 50, this is the medium-term momentum levels. You will see that we're still kind of moving higher on a longer-term basis. On a weekly basis, we kind of turned lower, but the bottom line is the momentum levels are still coming off. The highs are getting lower. Notice the highs are getting lower right here on a weekly, ever since the crash, and they're reverting down. So on a weekly basis, we're moving lower on the number of stocks trading above the 50-day line and the 200-day line on the S&P and on the NASDAQ, as you will see. Again, I'll show you. I'll just go through it again because we kind of got stuck on both. That's the NASDAQ right here. All right, you see that? I'm not liking this. I'm not liking this at all. Also, remember, small caps are undervalued compared to large caps, which means we can get a lot more upside from the smaller stocks. So now I'm going to show you 90-day breakouts, which are a bit overextended. I want to explain to you the markets are overextended a little bit right now. These are all stocks making 90-day breakouts. Beginning of this week and last week, we had like 250. We only have about 49 right now. And 10 stocks are making 90-day lows. But look at the quality of the 90-day breakouts. Pinduoduo, one of the stocks I called back down here, overextended. Plug, we called this at like $7. It's now at 25. It went up like 5 times. Overextended. Neo, I love this stock. We called it at like $7. Overextended, just overextended. Most of these stocks, not all, but most of these stocks appear a bit overextended. Some of the stocks that are not overextended, like Walmart's looking pretty good right now. I like Walmart. I like the biotech. It's congesting around here. Congestions are good near all-time highs. I like Anthem. I talked about this stock yesterday. I like the congestion that's going on here. I like when stocks go vertically and horizontally. Vertically and horizontally. When they go horizontally, I like when they bunch up and congest. Volume and volatility is a little lower, and then they break out from there on. So most of these have had a good run up. Look at this, DNLI. This stock has run up. It needs to cool off. But some of these stocks are looking pretty good. Let me show you one I really liked, actually, that I had my eye on. I looked at this right before. Overextended, just overextended. Form factor, overextended a little bit. Needs to cool off. I like this one, GFF. I like this breakout coming off, doing a little bottom here, coming back up here. I like that one. I like DCPH. I like the congestion around here. The congestion's really good. Let me show you some other ones that I really like. TrueLeaf is looking beautiful. This is my favorite pot stock, TCNNF. I like it right now. And this is the one I was talking about, Cube. Cube is looking really good. Notice how long it's been congesting near the highs, and now it looks like it's very ready, to go vertically. It looks like it's been going horizontally quite a bit. But I like this Cube, and I like TrueLeaf. But I always like TrueLeaf. They're opening up a store in Florida like every week. I'm not kidding. When I moved here 2.5 years ago, I think they had 10 stores. They have like 85, 90 stores. Amazing company, TrueLeaf. Florida company. So I like Cube, I like TrueLeaf, and a few other ones. But again, most of the stocks, look at the run-ups they've had. Look at the run-ups they've had. Look at the run-ups they've had. They're just too... Look for stocks that are near all-time highs, took out the September 2nd high, and have been congesting for a while. You want stocks that congest near the highs. It's hard to explain. You kind of have to visualize it. But I look for 90-day breakouts. I look for stocks that go vertically, horizontally. But when they're moving horizontally, the longer they move horizontally without backing off near all-time highs or 52-week highs or 90-day highs, the better. But again, I'm cautious about the momentum levels right now. I'm liking smaller stocks a lot more. I'm not buying stocks unless they took out the September 2nd high on the S&P 500. And that should give you a really good idea of where we stand now. Now, I've got something for you before we go. We've all heard, folks, that buy and hold strategies are the surest ways to make money in the markets. But is that really true? I'm here to tell you that unless you want to make 6% a year on average on the S&P, it's just not true. In fact, one Wall Street insider just revealed the secret to making triple-digit gains on stocks like Facebook, Apple. I mean, this is Facebook, Apple, triple-digit gains in 24 hours. No day trading, in on Monday, out on Tuesday, in on Tuesday, out on Wednesday. But again, big names, liquid stocks. Stop waiting years for your investment to pay out when you can start enjoying returns like these, triple-digit gains. I mean, you gotta check this out. Click on the link below, learn how you can get started right now. Buy and hold, forget about it. Triple-digit gains on Apple, Facebook, that's what I'm talking about. Follow the link below, and don't forget, have a great weekend, and give me some feedback. Post below the article. The video. Let me know if you like this. Send me some love. Send me some hate. Give me feedback. Anything. I'll be around all weekend. I'll be checking my inbox too. Bye, guys. Take care.